Cliff from the Bloat Floaters. Welcome to my home in beautiful sunny California for another edition of What's My Rig, brought to you by Pi Records. Casa de Bloat Floaters. It's where the magic happens, folks. I like to think of this place as my own personal studio, but in reality it's just a room in my house with a really cheap Behringer interface. This room is also where we store some of our most valued treasures, such as Wayne Kramer's personalized autograph to me and one of his old guitar tuners. Not one, but two Chuck Mangione autographs.
Chick Mangione? I'm not a chick, I'm a dude.
John Waters. Most of the original Ventures. And a freaky deaky shrine to Lemmy, which is probably unhealthy. My brother Chuck has his very own AC unit installed behind his drum kit. It's kind of a weird flex, I don't know why I'm mentioning that. This here is my very first guitar. It was also my grandfather's first guitar. I got this on my 10th birthday in 1988 and I never set it down. It's a 1949K Archtop Blonde. Maybe a little older than 1949, but I wouldn't go as far as claiming that. But that's not what we're really here for, is it? This is why we're here, folks. This is my rig. Alright, an unsolicited pick. I like to use a Gin Dunlop medium gray 60mm. I prefer the new ones with the corrugated grip, but the old ones with the little bumps on it work just fine. I've never been into big thick picks. I don't like those Tortex turtle shells or anything like that. I just find that if I have a thin or medium pick, I can really dig into those strings without worrying about breaking or going out of tune. And it's just much more responsive. I just feel more at home with a medium pick in my hand. This pick I actually don't use, but I do carry it in my pocket at every show. I got this pick from Mike Dominguez, or also known as Mig, from the Nebulas, one of my favorite bands in the world. And it's really corny and cheesy, but I thought I'd show you guys and let you know that I'm a little superstitious, especially when it comes to the Nebulas. Here it is, party people. This is my moneymaker. A 1962 Fender Jaguar. It's actually from the very first run of the AVRI series, so it's from the early 80s, and it had 0 to no miles on it when I got it back in 2004. It's all stock, no upgraded parts. The only thing I did do was shove a piece of old t-shirt underneath the bridge to stop the buzzing that these things naturally have, but other than that, straight off the line. This thing has really held up throughout the years. I've babied this thing. A little bit of cosmetic issue in the back where my belt buckle is, but other than that, this thing is straight. My reverb tank is a standard early 2000s reissue. I bought it brand new in 2005 for $888, and that was a sale price. I did the cap and tube mods myself. I got into Surf Guitar 101, and I met up with a bunch of guys that walked me through how to do it. And I thought, well shit, I could do this. So I took it apart and I zapped myself across the room. I didn't know to discharge it first. It didn't do any damage to the unit itself, thank God, but to this day I could still smell colors and everything tastes like pennies. This is the only effect I use in any way, shape, or form. I don't have any pedals, I don't use any digi-reverb, I don't do anything. This is it. I've had a bunch of discussions with guys throughout the years asking me, where do you keep your sound levels, your tone levels? And I used to go with the standard 666 or 777. That's what most of the guys I know go with. But it seems recently I've been going with dwell down to 3 and a 6.6 or a 7.7. I don't know if it's just because my ears are getting older, if the tank itself is getting older, but having that dwell all the way up to 6 or 7 just wasn't doing it for me, Just got to keep that knob around 3. Knob. Not using any other effects pedals really doesn't hinder me though. I mean, I can play this thing like its own instrument. I kick the shit out of this thing when I'm on stage. When you get a relationship with your tank, you kind of know how far you can kick it and where to kick it, when to kick it, Yeah, when you get in the groove, you can treat this thing like a electric percussion machine, or it's wild. The cab I used is a 412 Fender cab. My brother CJ actually traded a running car for this cabinet and the matching head back in the 90s when this thing was brand new. I mean, this thing was a joy in our household. We'd never seen anything this nice. My other brother Chuck actually is a powder coater by trade. He works in the factory that powder coats the Jimi Hendrix Crybabies, and he disassembled all the grills off of our gear, our fender heads, and various other instruments, and snuck them into work one piece at a time, and powder coated them all. So if you'll notice on stage sometimes, a lot of our gear is pretty cool matching red. And here it is, bro dads and ho dads, the 1963 Fender Showman. This is absolutely my dream amp. This is everything I know and love. Took me my entire life to finally afford one or find one at the right time, and I couldn't be happier. Even the hum it has in standby mode is warm and rich. The only issues I have with this thing are purely cosmetic. I mean, this thing still looks great for being how old it is. I only use the left side, the normal two channels. I never use the vibrato side on the right. I just don't need any of that. My reverb tank handles everything pretty much for me. Plus, less knobs to deal with, less headaches. Knobs. I keep my bass in a medium, about 5 or 6, and I put my treble always at an 8 or 9. Turn up that bright switch and let it rip. Yeah, so that's my gear. I keep it pretty simple and pretty loud. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it.